The sun was sinking behind the hills when the biker family rolled up to the forgotten 1970s mansion, its rotting silhouette rising like a ghost against the sky. The place looked like it had swallowed decades of secrets, its broken windows staring back at them like hollow eyes. Leather jackets creaked as they climbed off their motorcycles, their boots crunching through weeds that had claimed the driveway. And as the father, a broad-shouldered biker with tattooed arms, placed his hand on the cracked front door and pushed it open, a cold wave of dread washed over him. What they found inside would shatter everything they thought they knew about the past and reshape their future in ways they never expected. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of family, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support truly keeps stories like this alive. Inside, the air felt heavier, as if the house had been holding its breath for 50 years. Dust floated like pale ghosts in the sunlight that filtered through a hole in the roof. The walls were peeling, the floors warped, and yet the place seemed to watch them as they stepped further in. This wasn't just a building, it felt like a frozen memory. The mother, whose steady strength held the family together, gripped her daughter's hand tightly, aware of the strange stillness in the air. Their teenage son scanned each room with curiosity, trying to imagine the lives once lived here. The father, known among his rider brothers for his toughness, felt his chest tighten as they reached the living room. There, beneath collapsed ceiling beams and years of neglect, sat something unexpected. A small wooden chest resting untouched, as if waiting for them. It wasn't the chest itself that froze him, but the thick layer of dust around it, unbroken, undisturbed, as though no one had stepped inside this mansion since it had been abandoned. He knelt, brushing the dust off carefully. The lock was rusted, but a gentle push snapped it free. The lid creaked open, releasing a faint scent of old paper, forgotten memories, and something heartbreakingly human. Inside were dozens of photographs, yellowed letters, and a single leather-bound journal. The pictures revealed a family from the 1970s, a husband, wife, and young children living in the same mansion when it was still alive with light. The smiles in the photographs looked full of hope, as though they believed they had forever. But forever had clearly not come. The journal told the rest of the story. Written in shaky handwriting, it belonged to the mother of the family, her words filled with warmth at first, describing summers spent laughing in the fields, children racing down the corridors, and evenings under the warm glow of chandeliers. But the entries darkened slowly. A tragedy had struck. The father of that family had died in a terrible accident while trying to rescue a stranded traveler during a storm. Grief swallowed the mother, and sickness took hold soon after. She wrote her final entry with trembling fear, saying she had no one left, no will to fight, and that she was leaving the home to her children someday, hoping they would return to reclaim her love, even after she was gone. But they never did. The biker mother wiped her eyes as she read the final lines aloud in a whisper. Even the teenage son, who rarely showed emotion, lowered his head as the weight of the woman's pain settled in the room. The young daughter clutched her father's jacket, sensing the sorrow, even if she didn't fully understand. The biker father stood up slowly, the journal pressed to his chest as if it were a beating heart. He had spent his life fighting stereotypes, people seeing only the leather, the tattoos, the club patches, and never the man underneath. He knew what it felt like to be judged, to have others assume the worst, to feel alone in a crowded world. And now, standing in this abandoned mansion, he felt a connection deeper than he expected, a shared ache between strangers separated by decades. He walked through the rest of the mansion with renewed purpose. Each room told another silent chapter of the lost family's life. The children's bedrooms, still faintly showing peeling wallpaper of stars and planets. A broken music box rusted shut on a vanity table, and a cracked kitchen tile with a child's drawing scribbled in faded crayon. They were relics of love that had simply been forgotten by time. The biker family left the mansion that evening, but they couldn't shake the feeling that they had wandered into someone's unfinished story. The father couldn't sleep that night, his mind replaying the journal's last words again and again. By morning, he knew what he had to do. He gathered his family around the kitchen table of their small home and told them his decision. They were going to restore the mansion not for themselves, but for the woman who had lived there. The mother who had died, carrying hope that someone, someday, would return and remember. The restoration became the family's mission. Week after week, they rode back to the old mansion, bringing tools, wood, paint, and determination. The father tackled the broken structure, repairing the beams and stabilizing the roof. The mother scrubbed away decades of dust, rescuing peeling walls and breathing life back into forgotten rooms. The teenage son rebuilt furniture and restored the old music box. And the youngest daughter, with her innocent heart, placed fresh flowers in each room, saying it was to make the lady smile again. As the months passed, the mansion transformed not into something modern, but into something respectful, warm and alive again. When the project was finally complete, the father placed the journal and photographs on the restored mantel, the house glowing in the orange sunset, just as it must have in the 1970s. Standing on the porch as the wind rustled the grass, the father felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: peace. Not because the house was fixed, but because a forgotten family was finally honored. The story that had been frozen in dust had been given a new ending, one built with compassion. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support means more than you know, and it helps us continue create emotional stories that remind us of the goodness in this world.